Hello, hello. Good evening, everyone. Or good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the world. I hope you are having a good time today. It's a very special day. Today we are racing again. Welcome to I believe it is the 5th round already of the Semi-Slick Racing Classic Day Championship in the Porsche RSR 74. Today we are driving around the brilliant track of Watkins Glen in the New York State in the United States. Hope you are all having a good time. Hope the stream is coming out in good quality. We are currently watching Veilside, one of the newer races in the championship. They joined last time around at Monaco. Did a pretty good job, decent at least, and they seem to be up there again. Car looks spotless so far, so they're keeping it on the road. Is especially impressive given the wet state of the track. I'm a little bit wide here and there, trying to find the limit of what this car can do in the wet, and practice is the best moment to do that. Of course, more drivers than Veilside. You will see more of them. Hopefully right up there with Mick Schleifer, who is generally considered the best driver in the league so far, but you see it's a bit trickier in the wet. It's not so simple. Damage should be back on. Last time around it was turned off, of course, because it was Monaco at night, and we didn't want people to... Well, we did want some finishes at the end of the race. A lot of ways to lose the car, but one person still had a mechanical sort of failure, as in their physical racing wheel disconnecting. Other than that, no damage on the car. But many hits with the wall here and there. Today, all the hits with the walls matter. At least they should. If a car looks like this, we can expect them to be a little bit slower. What else do we have? I just see a big improvement from Dustin here. You have been watching these races, you will know that Dustin is the big head of Semi-Slick Racing. Organises most leagues, not this one, but he has a hand in most. Also casts the Formula 1 races that he organises. Of course, the organisers of today's race are two. Got Schwarzfahrer and the black car, Cafalor, also co-organising this, if I recall correctly. They are pretty far up there as well. Schwarzfahrer 4th, Jojo just beat him, but Schwarzfahrer doing his decent job in 4th so far. Cafalor currently in 6th. We've got G-Foil, which I'm not sure if we have seen before, but he is here today. And we've got Pan. We've got, I think this is new, this man. Let's see, Robin Ulberban. We've got RC Custy behind. I think we missed him last race. He's here today. Erich Valenda. We've got, I believe it's Metal Symphia off the top of my head, and I'm now going to check if my memory is correct, and it totally is. Take that as a win. And we've got Wujek. Last two haven't had a time yet. Oh, you can see why the last corner. We saw more spins there earlier. Didn't touch on it then because I was occupied with saying something else, but that last corner seems to be incredibly deadly. Now, in practice, no harm, no foul. In qualifying, well, you might lose a run or two there. If you do that in the race, then that's extremely problematic. You might also be forced into the pit, so you don't want to do that. Veilside's still second so far. Now, as I like to do in these races, I like to show the championship table. So a quick look at what people are doing so far in the championship. Mick Schleifer dominant ahead, winning the first 3 races, but having to let 2 people ahead of him at Monaco. Dustin won last race around in Monaco. He loves Monaco. That's of course helped him. Otherwise, he's got a second, he's got a third, a DNS as well. I believe he had a connection issue that race. Hopefully today, no issues and another good result. Then maybe take a challenge to Mick Schleifer with a lot of luck. But a little bit of skill is also going to be necessary. Cavalo in P3. Excellent, consistent results. Very good third place at the start. Hasn't reached the podium since. Still third in the championship. Then we've got Pan, who didn't do so well at the start, but has got a second in race number 3. Schwarzfahrer, who got a third place in race number 3. They're pretty close together. Not that far off of Cavalo. Roonlink had a really good start of the season, but since then had a little bit of bad luck. Isn't vibing as well with this car as he does with others, but that does make it interesting. He's right ahead of Wujek, who has the pace, maybe not quite the consistency, but he has finished every time, and that does count for a lot. But Vilside, who finished second last time, so he's definitely one to watch today as well. It was the first time he joined a race, and it immediately paid off with a brilliant result. See if we can improve that today. Heimanish we've got then we've got Kushti, who wasn't there last time. Shuking, Nico, I don't think we have him here today either. We have Mr. Burger King, who I'm not sure if yep, he did join race number 3. And who else do we have? Oh, London Vula joined. He's a racer from New Zealand, joining today as well. Foil, I don't think we had yet. See the rest of the list. Yeah, should be interesting. Let's get rid of that table. It is a pretty big one. I've got London Villa, I've got Burger King here. The red Porsche. A little bit of lag here and there, but hopefully it's not a problem. Now Jojo I haven't seen much of, to say the least. But he is here today. And he's showing up with decent pace. 6th place so far. Puts him ahead of Schwarzfahrer, who has shown decent pace, and Dustin, who won last race. Now I'm not sure if that lap time is representative. I'm not really sure what to make of these lap times, because I feel like there was a moment in the session. It was basically just a moment. But the track was actually, well, the air was dry. The track was probably still somewhat wet. There wasn't so much rain falling down. And now it's absolutely storming. So I'm not sure if Jojo just missed the boat there, if he didn't miss the boat and other people did. Hard to say. Pan had a good run earlier. So I don't think these lap times are entirely representative, and that's not a bad thing. That's a really good thing. That means we don't really know. Ooh, and Pan makes a big mistake. Saves it nicely though. Mistake through the chicane. He cut it instead, and there you go. We're sitting to the pits. As I was gonna say, even though the lap times are not representative, that's not a bad thing. That just means that we don't know what we're going to have today as a race. Looks like we're gonna run away with it. Looks like it. It's not representative, so maybe Veilside has some pace in hand that he simply hasn't shown yet, hasn't been able to show. Medelson Viana also improving to 5th, doing a great job there. Pan also 2nd, can't count him out. I think everybody ahead of Dustin is basically capable of a good result today. Maybe even some people that might show up later, or even some people behind. But basically, we won't know until the qualifying ends, just to see where people stand on that front. Then in the race you can see the conditions here, and that suggests to me we're going to have more race more rain in the race. That makes it interesting, because that adds another layer to the racing aspect. Of course, it's one thing to be quick, it's another thing to be quick every single lap. To do that in the rain, you have to deal with changing conditions. You have to be a little bit reactive. The track is always optimal if it's always the same every lap around, and you just do the same thing over and over and over again until at some point the checkered flag hits and you are a winner. Today's not so simple. Nick Schleifer is pushing everything he can out of the car, but I think he had a collision there with the car that was on the apex. Corrects the car nicely. It looks slow, it is a little bit slow. It's better than hitting a wall. 6 seconds off his best. He's retired to the pits, doesn't want to bore people too much. But Metal Sim VR still on his last lap, I believe. Unless the timer has already expired and this is just the overtime on the time remaining. No, that's how it shows when practice is complete. People can finish this lap and it will count towards their best time in the session, as it will do in qualifying. And there I think we see Dustin improve quite a lot. There you go, he was 9th earlier, now he's 5th. I think he will be happy with that. Got almost everyone in. Wujek is still driving, and 2 others, but I think Wujek is the last one to have to finish. Might be wrong, there might be one other person. Maybe Mr. G Foil. Call him Foil. Then we've got London Vula, who's also driving. Hasn't really set too representative of a lap time, but he joined, I think, a little late. And maybe isn't quite used to the conditions as well. I don't know if they were revealed beforehand, if people practiced it at all. Even if it's revealed beforehand, some people just will not. Which, you know, up to them. Some people just want to have a little bit of fun when the timing starts. Don't want to worry about it otherwise. It's completely understandable. And you can see while the air is dry, the track is in fact wet. That is a well reined in track. And if it stays dry, if we are not having any rainfall, then the track will get faster over time. And that will make things incredibly interesting. Now, I think ahead, it's not Mick Schleifer, it's someone else. I'm trying to find the person who is ahead. If you go to roof cam, of course you can't see anything because it doesn't show the labels. I have to guess it is Dustin. Okay, I guessed correctly. What we are going to do, I'm simply going on board. You can see the vision. It is not very good. I was hoping for the wipers to be on, but it's just not very good. I'm not sure. Is it raining? Oh yeah, it has started raining. It started entirely dry, but it has since started actually raining. See the windshield wipers. We're just going to sit here and enjoy a lap with Dustin around Watkins Glen. It's a short version. It's got the chicane. It should be fun. It is a very fun track. Start-finish straight, not too complicated, but you want to brake at the right time. This is a tricky turn. It's banked for you, but it immediately goes off camber beyond the exit, so you can't really go too wide. This is a fast set of right, left, and then right-hand corners. in that order. Carry as much speed through the last one as you possibly can, because after that is the big straight. This is a long sit. You can see braking for the chicane, hit the apex, take the curbs as much as you can. Want to go as straight through there as you possibly can. It means you carry more speed through the long right-hander. Then I think we'll see some very interesting battles here. There's an alternative route there, but I think Dustin goes a little bit wide, and that's an invalidated lap time. That is important to keep in mind there. Hit brake for this corner. It's a long left-hander, or a tight left-hander I should say, and then this one is another tight right-hander. Pit entry is to the right. People will have to nail that once in the race, because there is a mandatory stop. I thought the lap time was invalidated, but it does show up. Mick Schleifer behind him also sets a lap time. It's a little bit slower though. When Dustin immediately makes a mistake after that, so you can see how tricky the track can be. Veilside, however, currently on top of the list, set the fastest lap time out of everyone. A 1:24.7. I don't think that will be the where it ends. Nowhere near. I think we'll see big improvements because the track is going to continuously improve, it seems. Simply have to see. It looks a lot drier through the chicane here, as you can see on board with Veilside. Well, I think that's a mistake for Mick Schleifer, and you can see immediately went to the pits before I could catch him. A rare error, but it can catch you out so easily. I mentioned earlier, when the track is wet, it is changing constantly. It's very easy to over or underestimate the amount of grip you're going to have. When it's drying up, it's very easy to make the mistake thinking that it has dried up more than it actually has. You push too hard and you spin. Veilside finishes another lap. I don't think that was faster. I didn't see an improvement go through. He goes very far outside. I'm not sure if that invalidates his lap time, but I do know that Capfalor has just improved the best time in the session by 2/10, and then Metal Sim VR goes even quicker, 8/10. Now that is a big gap. I think that indicates to me, no offense to Metal Sim, he's done an excellent lap there, it indicates to me that the track is getting faster. And it's not just that, it's the fact that you can simply see a dry line. Now watch where Metal Sim is driving and watch where he isn't driving. You will see that the patches where he is not driving appear to be wet and darker. That means, well, it's damp, wet. You're gonna have less grip there. And that's what the track looked like all over at the start. Big clue that the track is drying up. See some spray being thrown up. That means somebody went off the racing line. That will not be fast. Metal Sim takes this corner. You see nicely within the lines. Has a lot of grip and confidence through there. The rain being gone does help. A pretty decent run. Maybe the right side's a little bit on the wet stuff, but it's alright. Keeps the car under control. Gets closer to the car ahead. I'm not sure if that's holding him up. But won't be now because they are pulling into the pits. Finishes his lap. It's going to be another improvement. 23.6 becomes a 23.5. It's an improvement, but not so big. Dustin, I believe, might be finishing a fast lap, might also be starting one right here. We'll keep with him. Oh, there you go. That is the fastest lap, a 122.8. A 7/10 improvement over Metal Sim. That is a big one. There's more people driving here, of course. Schwarzfahrer also finishing up his lap. I'm not sure if this is an end or a beginning for him. Look particularly quick through there, yeah, that's what I thought. It was just the start of a lap. 3 seconds down because this is an off lap, out laps, excuse me. I've got Pan here. I'm just going to follow him because he was showing pace as well during practice. He's currently only 7th, 2 seconds off the pace. Improvement looks big, but is it going to be big enough in the last sector to make a real dent in the gap that Dustin has pulled over everyone? Let's have a look. 4th place it is. It's nearly 8 tenths down on his personal best. It's not nearly good enough. 1 second and 3 tenths still off. We'll be trying to improve that. Now Mick Schleifer is the odd one out here. Leader in the championship, showed a very good pace in practice. Hasn't really set a good lap this session yet. At least not for the current track conditions. I'm not sure what the weather has in store. If it starts raining again, all of that grip that has been generated in the last few minutes is going to go away very quickly. But I hope for him that it doesn't hit before he finishes his fast lap, and there you go, it's already an improvement in the first sector. I hope for him that his lap includes an error in the second or third sector. Knowing him, he does have very good pace. He is pushing so hard. You can see the car slide there. Going a little bit off the dry line. Ooh, that might not be good. A little bit of loss of grip. So I'm corrected there. Does go full send. He does not have a halfway... does not know what a banker lap is, I think. See, he lost a lot of time through that sliding. Let's see if he can make up time in the last corner to at least not put him 13th. 13th would be a disaster for him. A terrible way to start. It does improve himself in terms of time, but not in position. And we do have... Is that Cavalo? There you go. Wow! Oh my goodness, you don't see this very often. Cavalo improves by almost 2 seconds over Dustin. And the track is well and truly getting quicker, and that is proof if I've ever seen it. That is still 2 seconds. That is incredible. Very well done by Cavalo. Dustin will want to retake that, and we'll have a look. So welcome, Michael. Thank you for watching. Anybody else is watching, feel free to comment. Use chat as appropriate. Love to hear what your predictions are and thoughts about this race. Qualifying session so far, Dustin going very wide there. I don't think that will count. I think that would invalidate it. But it's also very possible that we're using IndyCar rules where track limits are a suggestion. I am not entirely sure how this game enforces those track limits on that corner. Unfortunately, the game is not entirely consistent. It's not always the white lines. Dustin finishes his lap. It's not an improvement. But maybe we'll be seeing that very soon. Metalsim VR, I was going to say he's third, but Mick Schleifer just beat him. Pushing himself up to third as well. But that is not enough. Cavalo still with a stranglehold on pole position. 2 seconds away from everyone else. How did he do that? And how is Mick Schleifer not able to even get close to 2 seconds? Is a lot of time. Metalsim VR in third earlier, fourth now. Done a pretty good job so far. The top three. Not entirely out of touch. 4 tenths is something you can make up on an improving track for sure. Is he actually going to do it? That's the real question. Not for now. Veilside also on track currently. Is he improving? Is he not? We will see quite soon. I think it's in the chicane or after the chicane where we'll have a timing pop up. I might be wrong. It may simply not pop up at all. A little while there, you see a lot of people doing that. Oh, but there you go. Cavalo had a stranglehold, but he has finally been beaten by Dustin. But the gap isn't so big. It's not 2 seconds. It's more like 3/10 of a second. Ooh, big slide there from Veilside. I'm not sure if that's probably not good for lap time, but I'm not sure if he's going to be good enough to challenge the top. Triple L's. Hello, I didn't see you walk in here, but there he is. Currently third. Hillside was not on a fast lap. Triple L's, we did see him earlier in the season. I know he has pace. He's shown it in several occasions. He's shown it in this occasion. Let's hope that translates to a very good race pace from him. And a very good consistency with that. Now, Metalsim VR, I was praising him earlier. There he goes. Takes the top of the timesheets. It is completely impossible, I think, at this point, to predict who is going to be on pole. It's 2 minutes to go. Everybody has, like, maybe 2 laps if they're currently on one. It's completely insane. I can't predict who is going to be the fastest man at the end of the session. Metalsim could be it, Dustin could be it. We can't count out Swartzfire, who has improved over Cavallor. And now it's 4 people within 4/10 of each other. But there you go, Dustin joins the party. Well, in fact, he beats the whole party. Metalsim is only down by less than a tenth, so it's not that much of a gap. Cavallor has also improved over Schwarzfahrer, is now within 2/10 of the leader. Schwarzfahrer is still 3/10 behind. There's still time to improve. Maybe not this lap, but probably not one after. Els has shown good time, but Mick Schleifer we can never count out. He's about to finish another lap. Let's see if it's enough to put him in contention. It is. In fact, it beats everyone. 4/10 ahead of Dustin. That is the gauntlet firmly on the floor. Mick Schleifer has also had time to start another lap. But it will be an early finish for him. Maybe, unless he's able to squeak out another, and that is indeed possible. But Dustin, I am curious to see what you are going to do. Are you going to respond to Mick Schleifer? Well, he is building a sort of response. It's still not enough, 2/10 away from what it needs to be. Is he going to be... Oh, luckily for him, he's ghosting through this guy. He can probably not even see it. He's got a good exit there. Is it going to be enough? Dustin, are you going to beat him? Yes, he is, but the gap is less than 1/100th of a second. 9 thousandths between the two. That is crazy. Mick Schleifer is still driving. Metalsim is still driving. All of these guys are still hopefully improving. Mick Schleifer does not look to be improving right now. And I'm not sure if that's a problem for him. I think he can still start another lap, but it will be a little bit tight. And the next lap has to be good enough to beat Dustin. Now that is a big ask, because that lap by Dustin is mega. 119.9 is not easy to beat. But Mick Schleifer is going to give it a shot. Now Metalsim VR is coming up to the end of his session. Qualifying has ended for him. I believe it's also Pan ahead of him, who is going through the last corner with another driver right there. Maybe held them up a little bit, but it's still going to be improvement. 3 seconds down from the best. It's an improvement in position as well, but maybe not as much as he wanted. I do think Metalsim has now ended his session, but he has also improved faster than Dustin now. This is insane. Dustin going wide there, probably not faster. Mick Schleifer is not faster at all. Is Dustin going to improve? Wujek has improved. Hello, Wujek. I didn't see you there. Still over 10th down. Dustin doesn't improve. Dustin has to settle for 3rd at best. Mick Schleifer then, still driving. Schwarzfahrer, I think, maybe still driving? I don't think he is. No. Mick Schleifer has now finished. Cavallor, sorry, he has not finished. He's still driving, but his improvement is far away. It's not going to be enough, it seems, to beat Metalsim VR. Crazy qualifying session. Cavallor is not going to be able to do enough. Triple L's. Somebody coming across the finish. It is Triple L's, but it's not going to be enough. Mick Schleifer then, finish your lap. What is it? It's nothing. He has not improved, and our pole sitter for the 5th race of the season, Metalsim VR. And what a brilliant session that was. As I said earlier, it was impossible to predict who was going to be the pole sitter. And I don't think anyone did. If you did have it on top of your timing sheets, very impressive. Metalsim VR, fastest man in qualifying, followed by Dustin, who looked very strong, but not at the right time. Wujek didn't look to be anywhere. He was not on my visor. He was not in my top 3. But there he is in the top 3. Excellent lap time from him. Mick Schleifer also done a brilliant job. not as good as he wanted it to be, but he is still close in time. Schwarzfahrer and Cavalo were very close to each other, but just not up there with the leaders. Triple L's couldn't improve on his last run, took quite far down in the pack. Maybe that is exactly where he wants to be. Pan in 8th, and we've got Foyle in 9th. There's a pretty good time from him. Kushti there, Veilside, maybe he wanted more. Maybe had more in him. 11th for him for now. Ulberman in 12th, and we've got Burger King in 13th. Ekvalanda is in P14, followed by Jojo. And last but not least is London Vula. Exciting race ahead of us. Now, if you dare, please do put in a prediction of who you think is going to win the race. Because I truly do not know. I would say probably Dustin. He's shown last time. He's got the pace, he's got the consistency, around Monaco as well. I think he can show it again. Mick Schleifer though, never count him out. The track looks dry. Let's see what he can do. Look at Dustin, we'll have a slightly better view. It's lights out and Dustin I think has a good launch, but Metalsim VR also not too shabby. I think it's going to be between these two for the start though. SSR defends the inside line and Dustin simply follows through. Wojciech close behind, takes a wide exit, Big Schleifer behind. Well, I do see a crash back there. Who is it? I think it's Foyle into the wall already. Oh, that is unfortunate. Oh, and I don't think the car is working anymore. And I think that's our first retirement already. That can very much happen. Els has gained a place to the pain of Cavalo. Pan I think still in 8th, but he's challenging Cavalo ahead of him. And we see the first cars jumping. Oh, but that was a big jump by Dustin there. That's not really what you want, because that can happen. Big slide, lost a lot of time to Metalsim VR, but not enough for Wojciech to pose a challenge. He also will have had to back off, because the risk of a collision there. P3 for him so far, but Dustin is in striking range, but equally he's in striking range of Mick Schleifer, and Metalsim VR has actually not walked away as much as he might have wanted to. And that is still a battle. Mick Schleifer I think will drop back a little bit, but not much actually. The gaps are just very, very close to each other. Wojciech looking on the inside of Dustin. Let's have a look from the roof cam. Is it going to be enough? He's side by side. But Dustin is a later braker here. Goes for the apex, hits the apex very nicely. Trackside, we can still see that Dustin is outside, but he's also outside of the track. We'll have to let that position go. Wojciech overtakes Dustin for P2 in the race, and Metalsim uses that opportunity to build a little bit of a gap. 1 second ahead of everyone now. Mick Schleifer on the tail of Dustin. And Schwarzfahrer is still keeping up with them. Triple L's as well, and Cavalo only a half a second behind. She is a second behind. That's like the first second gap that I can see outside of Metalsim, who has a very good start of the race so far. What else can we see up and down the field? We've got such a big pack all the way from 2nd to 8th. And I think we have Kushti a little bit behind, but he has his own fight with Veilside, who will want that position, who will be hungry for a better position than where he started. We've got Ulberman very close behind, Jojo's close behind, Burger King a little bit further away. We've got Erik Walanda in 14th. I think we also lost Lon Vula. Oh, and that's a big dive there. I believe that is from Ulberman. They might have a look at that after the race, but that looked a little bit risky. In the end, it doesn't matter much though, because she has retaken the position. A little bit of argy-bargy here and there, no problems though. Wojciech still in 2nd place, but Dustin is 2/10 behind. Wojciech has also gained only a little bit, but he has gained on Metalsim VR. Ooh, and you can see Dustin again, a big slide, but it's not as big as the one on lap 1. It doesn't appear to lose him too much time. Wujek is starting to put a little bit of pressure onto Mettelsen VR. Mick Schleifer still behind, biding his time. Schwarzfahrer is still keeping up, and so is Els, and so is Cafalor. We can see Pan in the back as well. It's crazy. Philside has now made it past the little... I think he overtook Kushti when we were looking. I believe it was Kushti anyway, it was a Jojo. But he is now in 9th and will be able to put in his true pace. Hopefully will be enough to catch the leaders. Now Mettelsen VR hasn't had a good lap. It was a 120.3, Wujek 6 tenths faster than that. 7 tenths faster. Look, he's a lot faster than that. That's all I'm gonna say. Mick Schleifer even faster. Dustin also keeping up with that, all of that pace around him. And you can see Pan also in the 19s. We saw Philside, I think, earlier also in the 90s. Now done a 120.7, but maybe he can improve that. 119s are very, very quick. I think we saw it in the late stages of qualifying. I think Wujek made a mistake there, maybe a little bit wide on the exit, but Dustin didn't fancy that opportunity. I don't think he should have, because that would have been a major disaster. Thinks better of it then. Oh, he is extremely close. Could go for a dive at any moment, but not quite yet. We putting on pressure just to make Wujek make a mistake. But Dustin is so wide through there. Looks to the inside here, but there is simply nothing there. Wujek takes the best line through there, and Dustin was slightly compromised on entry. Now Mick Schleifer is looking to the inside of Dustin then. Dustin looking a little bit vulnerable today, but well, he's still there. Around the outside maybe of Mick Schleifer. You have to be bold to try it. He is bold enough to try it. To the inside for this next corner. He will be having that. And we'll watch from his roof, or Mick Schleifer's roof, because Dustin is still ahead. But Mick Schleifer is not going to allow him much space. Dustin has better speed though. I think he will emerge ahead through the chicane. Mick Schleifer decides to live another day. Because if you send it through there, you're basically asking for a crash. Very good racing from these two. You can see also Tripper Els fancying an opportunity there. Mick Schleifer forced a compromised entry to the chicane, invited Els to do a move. He is side by side with him now. I think Mick Schleifer just had the better exit there. No matter how far off track it was still quicker. And Els will have to settle for 5th for now. Let's see who else we got. Schwarzfahrer is pretty close, and Cafalor is keeping up. And Pan is trying his best to do the same, and he's doing that. To his credit, he's faster than a lot of people ahead of him. And we've got Jojo for an very early stop here. Everybody has to make one stop. Oh, and I think something has happened to Mettelsen VR. He probably made a mistake in the first corner. And where do we see him? Not in first. He is in second. And Wujek is ahead of him. Now, he will be frustrated by that, but he has every opportunity to make up for that lost position. Looking towards the inside then. Don't be too eager, though. You have to understand that you can simply not force an overtake. In these cars especially, it can be a recipe for disaster. Wujek currently in the lead. A man I didn't even expect in the top 3 in qualifying, after not looking to be anywhere for most of it, has found himself in the lead of the race after, I believe it is going to be 6 laps. 22 minutes still to go though, and everybody still has to stop. Mettelsen VR is chasing Wujek, but Dustin is in his turn chasing Mettelsen VR. I believe we saw some movement there. Triple L's and Schwarzfahrer. And Schwarzfahrer, having gained on Triple L's there, looking for a move, didn't quite make it stick there. Simply not fast enough on this occasion. Triple Els has proven a little bit vulnerable there. There's going to be more opportunities. The race is still long. This track is still incredibly challenging. Or you can see a mistake there from Cavallor, goes incredibly wide, and Pan as a result hasn't overtaken Vilside out of I don't want to say nowhere. He has shown the pace in practice. Didn't manage to put it together in qualifying. Started far back. I think he's actually gained on the lead as a 1:19.6 last time around. Very good pace from him. Can't count him out for maybe even a podium. Might be a bit optimistic, but you never know. These races go crazy, especially at the end. And so we are looking around the outside, actually. Wujek maybe made a mistake. Doesn't carry as much speed as he wants to. Some people pulling into the pits, I believe. They've got Mick Schleifer for an early box. Mittelsim around the outside. He's got more speed, but is it too much? Oh, he does go wide off camber there. He goes incredibly wide, and Wujek stays ahead. And actually, there gives an opportunity to Dustin to maybe give it a shot. He has to take to the grass. Very, very strong defending there. With elbows out, these guys are fighting tooth and nail. Knife between the teeth. Not giving each other an inch, and that's what we like to see. As long as there are no major crashes, everything is allowed. Don't take that too literally. Regardless, we have Metalsim still in second. Dustin still closely behind, challenging at every opportunity he can. And Wujek has the lead, but by an inch at best. And the big worry there is Mick Schleifer, who has now boxed and has emerged in traffic, which will not be great, but it's only 2 cars. And if the lead keeps battling, maybe he has an opportunity to overtake simply by strategy. We'll have to see. Triple L's now in P4. Now he will be happy with that. That is a very good place for him to be. To stay there, he will be likely satisfied because the top 3 is so fast. And we've got Pan here defending against Vilside, who has marched up the field at a rapid speed. Vilside may struggle a little bit with Pan here. Cavallor, after his mistake, still in 7th. Not too bad. Schleifer now in 9th. Kushti still ahead, still to negotiate. After that, though, big empty space. Ideal for lap time. Which is still ahead, but you can see the gaps have not grown. These gaps have stayed pretty constant. And so if we are looking at the inside, actually, he feels like he has better speed, and while he does, simply not enough to pose a real challenge. But Matson does have a tighter exit there, which it goes a little bit wide, but that's not necessarily as bad as with turn 1. Matson looking on the inside, though. He's going to pull alongside late on the brakes. He is going to have an early apex, so that might not be ideal, but he does have the car positioning. He doesn't have a fast exit though. Wujek is currently off track. I might have to let Metalsim go. Ooh, there is Dustin. I don't think Wujek anticipated that, but Dustin is right there with Metalsim VR. Wujek loses the lead to Metalsim, and Dustin closes in right there, up in P2. Will continue battling for the lead. Metalsim has regained it. Now 5 minutes is about as long as these guys managed to hold it, I think. This track is simply so easy to make a mistake. Last corner, if you make a mistake there's a very good opportunity in the first corner. Very easy to make a mistake there as well. The SSR after it are simply a little bit more difficult to secure and overtaken. Wujek will be pushing again, trying to close that gap, and he will have every opportunity. Metalsim and Dustin will be fighting. That will slow them down. Another man they have to worry about is Mick Schleifer, who is always fast. Last lap he didn't really show it. A 121.455 is not exactly what you want to see, and Dustin is going to put it to the test. He has done his stop Where is Mick though? Mick is already on the start-finish straight. You see him in the background there on the right. Dustin is exiting right now though. So I think Dustin has the better over Mick Schleifer. And Dustin is going to try to undercut Metal Sim VR. Got a decent gap to Mick. I think that's actually quite a big gap. Dustin has just kept up the pace very, very nicely, even fighting for the lead. Fortunately, I think Mick just got held up a little bit too much by traffic after his stop. Now, what else do we have going on? Metal Sim is going to have to defend from Wojciech, who is struggling a little bit. He has lost time last lap when he lost that position. He is still a fast man. A 119.5. That is faster than Metal Sim. I think it might be the fastest lap this time around. And Veilside also set a fast lap, but crucially, he goes into the pits. Now, he will be a little bit further behind, but he does have good pace. Somebody else with really good pace, a 119.1. That is insanity. That is a very, very strong lap. Fatfire also with a strong lap though, 119.3. Nothing to sneeze at whatsoever. Close behind Big Life though. Kefalul in P5, 6 seconds behind, nearly 7. Don't think he quite has the pace, but he's doing all right. We'll still have to box, so we'll have to keep an eye out on that. Pan and Triple L's. These two drivers still have to box. They'll do the top two. Looking a bit further back, we see Kushti is actually having a look at Veilside here. Veilside, I think, did just box. Now, I remember that he just boxed. In the grasps of Kushti, though. We'll have to either fend him off or just run away. Whatever challenge Kusti decides to pose, Veilside will have to respond to Wojciech, a former leader of the race, still challenging for that. Let's not forget, currently in the pits. And these are very quick stops. I think they are only, it's only obligated that they stop. What they do in their stops is not dictated by the game. I don't think that can happen yet. And hello, hello, new leader of the race, maybe, Dustin. Now, he was ahead of Wojciech, granted, but the gap wasn't this big. And Mick Schleifer, equally, another 119.1 from that man. He is flying. Is Metal Sim really in the lead? It's currently P1, but he still has to stop, and Mick Schleifer has been putting in the laps. Dustin has been putting in the laps. He's currently 4 seconds ahead of Wojciech. That was maybe a second when he boxed. Metal Sim has reasons to worry. Triple L's also has to stop. Pan also has to stop. From the top 4 down, I think we've got everyone. Crossfire also very, very nice lap, a 119.69. It's very simple. If you could do a 119 every single lap here, you will have a good result. Doing it every single lap is, of course, a challenge. Metal Sim, oh no, he misses his pit box. Has to reverse. That is time loss. That is precious, precious time loss. But it's also Dustin who just simply is way too fast. What a fast man. Metal Sim unfortunately loses more speed than more time than he needs to. Mick Schleifer is ahead. Wojciech is ahead. Schwarzfahrer, in fact, is also ahead. That is very costly and maybe a little bit heartbreaking for him. Currently in 7th. Pan and Els still have to stop after that. Dustin is your new effective leader of the race. It was my prediction. He is a fast man. He's a consistent man. He had a good position from the start. But he does it again after 19 minutes. Himself in a very good position, but it's not over yet. Mick Schleifer has, in fact, been making huge inroads in the last 3 laps. Last lap, not so representative, lost maybe 100th. little over. Lap before that, the 119.1. The lap before that, the 119.1 also. Crazy laps from him, and if he can keep that up, this will be a straight up, pace-wise battle for the lead we might be seeing here. And these two are former race winners. Dustin won last race, but Mick Schleifer has won every race before that. A 119.6 from Dustin does not hold up against a 119.2 from Mick Schleifer. Wojciech behind will not be worrying about those two because they are simply in a league of their own as it stands. Schwarzfahrer is putting on the pressure. Metalsim and Veilside, hello Veilside, who we saw half pace in practice, I repeat, was nowhere in qualifying. But in the race he shows he has the consistency, he has the pace, and he has a realistic challenge for a couple of positions. But Sylvia and Schwarzfahrer are both vulnerable, maybe even Wojciech. And Mick Schleifer will be pushing as hard as he can. I feel like Dustin looks a decent way away for now. Little bit of a drift there, not necessarily slow. We'll be straining on the tires. We'll be looking at very specific turns to see if they're optimal or not. Triple L's and Pan have now boxed, so we will have a straight up battle between everyone. Dustin responds. Ladies and gentlemen, we have received a response from Dustin. He says 19.219. That is a giga lap. A 119.2 is exactly what he needs to be doing in order to beat Mick Schleifer on pace. Because that is faster than Mick Schleifer's last lap. Wojciech 119.6. Now that is a response to Schwarzfahrer's continuous challenges. And Metalsim VR also showing why he was one of the leaders, but Veilside is even faster. This is crazy between these two, because the close on pace. Metalsim has not got a great line through there, but Veilside also kind of messes it up. Big slide from him, loses a lot of speed. That was crazy from those two, but Metalsim is still ahead. He does have a very good pace, but Veilside is slightly, ever so slightly faster. Can he convert that into a position gained? That is the real question. I didn't want to look at that. It looks a bit nauseating, but there we go. Looking around the outside, there's nothing there. Of course, he's even off track there, but he's earlier on the throttle there. Maybe there's an opportunity. Doesn't look too much faster right now than Metalsim VR, but maybe as the corner draws closer. Metalsim also has slipstream, let's not forget. Now, Schwarzfahrer goes a little bit wide. Let's not forget him. He is still in this race. He still has full right to fight for his position. He's going to do that. Veilside is so close behind Metalsim VR. I'm also looking at the leaders. Do not forget those two. Mick Schleifer 119.1. That is a response and a half. Wojciech not keeping up with those two. Surprisingly, frankly, because those two are insane. Dustin losing a little bit of time there, but if they go back and forth, Dustin will win the race. Let's not forget. Now Metalsim looks on the inside there of Schwarzfahrer. Didn't have the best run there, Mr. Schwarzfahrer, but Metalsim doesn't need a second invitation. He's side by side. Not the best exit though. Veilside is right there with them. Around the outside of this corner then. Is he going to hold on? He does look to have a very good speed. Schwarzfahrer maybe not so much. And I think that's Metalsim VR ahead. I want to see from Schwarzfahrer's perspective there. Or in fact Veilside's perspective. Let's do a chase cam. See those two ahead still fighting a little bit. Veilside will be looking for a move on the inside. Maybe is he going to send it? Minor send. Oh, he does send it. There is contact. Will it be enough for Veilside? Oh, I don't think Schwarzfahrer is very happy with it. He nudges himself against Veilside. Veilside is simply holding his car there. Might have a bit of an inquiry about that, but that is Veilside through for now. Metalsim VR also ahead. Schwarzfahrer currently in 6th. Pan a decent bit behind in 7th. Cavallor unfortunately 16 seconds behind the leaders. Too far behind. Now, hello ladies and gentlemen, this gap was a second larger last time I checked. Mick Schleifer 119.2 against a 119.4 last lap around, but that, I don't think that's where the time was gained. I think we'll be about to see Dustin maybe even dip into the 120s. Did he make a mistake? Let's have a look when they cross the finish line what the timing sheet says. 5 minutes to go. These two have a little over a second between them, and that's not a big gap for 5 minutes to go. Dustin posted 119.7. It wasn't Dustin being slow, ladies and gentlemen. It was Mick Schleifer going like the wind. A 19.0. That is incredible. Wujek doesn't match that, but he is faster than Dustin right now. He's in his own area. Metelson VR faster than Vilside will be trying to run away. Vilside will be trying to chase. Schwarzfahrer will be trying to finish in the position he's currently in, most likely. Because the top 5 is quick. They are so quick. Now Dustin, I think, makes a big mistake there. Has to take to the grass. And that is opportunity for Mick Schleifer to get closer. And so he does. Gap down to 7/10 of a second, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a fight for the lead coming up. But also a fight for 4th place. I do only have 2 eyes, but I have to focus on one part of the track at one time. Let's have a quick look at these two while this still happens. And we'll keep an eye on the gap between the leader of the race, Dustin, and the prominent challenger, Mick Schleifer, championship leader. Can he overtake Dustin? He does appear to be gaining rapidly, so let's have a look on the straight then. Dustin a 119.9 last time around, Schleifer a 19.1. Big strides from Mick Schleifer, showing excellent pace, but now the disturbed aero will hit his car. Maybe it will slow him down a little bit. Maybe he won't have so much grip through the tricky corners that we'll be facing on the straights, though. We'll have an advantage from the slipstream being so close to the other car. There's simply no aero to slow him down. Through the chicane then, Dustin, ooh, big slide. Maybe that is too big. I think that's just how he likes to take the corner. But Mick Schleifer is incredibly close. Less than 2/10 separate them now. A wider line for Mick just to be in a good position, maybe for a switchback. It's not a switchback here now, though. Dustin still in the lead of the race. Also, we saw Triple L's briefly drop back there behind Cavallor, who's currently in 8th. Now, Mick Schleifer is so close. We're quickly gonna drop into his cockpit. Let's see what he is seeing currently. I think it's a safe assumption to think that these aren't driving from cockpit camera, because it's just the best view, let's be honest. You see the driver ahead of you squirm just as much as you do. You can see how the wheel turns against the direction they're going, just to keep the car under control. And will be lining himself up. That's why he's going so far to the right there. Lining himself up for a good exit here. I think he's got a better one than Dustin, but I don't think it's much better. Dustin already defending the inside a little bit, but it's not necessary yet, so it goes back to the racing line. Mick Schleifer has a look on the inside, but it's simply not going to be enough for now. Dustin, big slide again. Mick Schleifer over the curb then. Is this an overtake? Looks to the inside of this long right-hander. Dustin tries to cover it off. It's not fully covered off though. Mick Schleifer is trying to negotiate the inside overtake here. He kind of manages it. He does manages. He is ahead of Dustin as it stands, but it's not by much. Dustin is still side by side, still on the inside through this next corner. Let's see what happens here. Takes a very good speed through it. Defends his position for now. We have, I think, 2 laps left, ladies and gentlemen, between these two. And they are fighting for it. Dustin holds on to the lead, but it's not by much. Mick Schleifer is trying his very, very best to ruin Dustin's day today. And he's very close to doing it. He has superior pace, but both of these have slowed down in the meantime. 121 from both of these drivers. Now that will not necessarily put them under duress, under stress from Wujek. But if Wojciech puts in two 119s, he could be up there if these two slow each other down even more. Dustin is still ahead, but it looks the same. Mick Schleifer looking on the inside, more side by side now into the chicane. Is it side by side into the chicane? Ladies and gentlemen, it's an overtake into the chicane. Mick Schleifer has more speed, and he exits in first place. That was look, I was taken completely off guard. I completely admit it. That was a brilliant overtake. I'm completely speechless. Very well done. You don't see them there, and I think that's just a well done there. Those flashes from the headlights. That was a brilliant move. I'm completely speechless. Mick Schleifer proving that he is the man to beat in this championship. Just the all-time great within semi-slick racing in this car. He's got the best control over it, and on this last lap it will be a victory lap, assuming he makes no major mistakes and lets Dustin capitalize. He is so fast, even with that overtake of 119.5. Simply ridiculous. A Wojciech of 119.7, also very good, but it simply peels in comparison with the man, the myth, the legend, man with one hand on the trophy after this race, it seems. This will be the fourth race he wins after only conceding one in Monaco, still hitting a podium. Mick Schleifer proves to be a force of nature, and there's simply nothing Dustin can do. Wojciech in third, also very impressive. Metals and VR looks to be challenging for the win. Wasn't enough, unfortunately. Veilside has shown such good pace in the race. Qualifying not quite his thing. Didn't quite get the lap together, but in the race he was up there. He showed excellent pace. He's fighting with Metalsim right now for another position. Stands to the inside here, maybe? Thinks better of it. Metalsim defends it. Maybe a switchback. Looks around the outside, maybe inside for the next corner. He actually manages to go side by side, but Metalsim defends it. Doesn't leave him much space. And he's in his right, ladies and gentlemen. Mick Schleifer wins the race, and Metalsim defends a fourth position. Dustin is in second. Will be very delighted to have had such a great battle with such a great opponent. Wojciech takes a podium finish. I think that's his first of the season. Will be satisfied with that. Metalsim VR, very good race from him. Veilside, I think my driver of the day, a very big improvement after qualifying. Just being strong and sturdy. Pan in 6th. We've got Schwarzfahrer in 7th and Cavalo in 8th. Jojo, I think with a late overtake on Triple L's? No, I think Triple L's had a time penalty. Pretty big time penalty. So Jojo is in 9th. Burger King finishes in 10th. Also has already finished, but we'll have to see where he truly finishes as Kushti crosses the line in 12th place, which puts Triple L in 11th. Wallenda finishes in 13th, and Ulbeman will have to close out the grid. We've got London Vulat not finishing, and I believe it was Boyle not finishing. What a brilliant race. Mick Schleifer, I think, also has the fastest lap of the race at 119.0. As I said earlier, such a brilliant time. You could also see Els had that pace. Big time penalty, unfortunately. And also finished a lot lower, unfortunately. Dustin, second, very impressive. Not quite fast enough for the win. Wojciech in third, also very well done. Gonna save the replay. That was a brilliant race today. Thank you again so much for watching. If you have been watching and you enjoy these races, in 2 weeks, I will not be here. I will be on holiday, a little bit far away from my home. So I simply will not be able to stream. But 2 weeks after that, I will be here again. We'll continue the championship, and it will be brilliant, hopefully. But if you don't want to miss that, don't forget to subscribe on the YouTube channel if you're watching there, or follow if you are currently watching me on Twitch. Thank you so much for your attention. It's been an excellent race again. Thank you to the drivers for providing such an excellent race. And see you guys again next time.